How I budget on an irregular paycheck. What if your paycheck changed every single month? One month you make $2,000, the next month $3,500, and then suddenly $4,100. How are you supposed to budget when you don't even know exactly how much money is coming in? Most budgeting advice assumes you get the same paycheck every 2 weeks. But what if you're a freelancer, a salesperson, a creator, a small business owner, a gig worker, or simply someone whose income goes up and down? Today, I'm going to show you how to budget when your paycheck is irregular, without constantly stressing about money or checking your bank account. And the best part is, you don't need to know exactly how much you're going to earn next month. You just need to know what your money needs to do. Welcome to Personal Finance for Beginners. Here's the biggest mistake people make when they have an irregular income. They budget based on their best month. Imagine you normally earn somewhere between $2,000 and $4,000. Then one month, you make $4,200. You look at your bank account and think, finally, I'm doing well. So you start spending more. Maybe you eat out more often, upgrade your phone, buy something you've been waiting for, or sign up for another monthly subscription. Everything feels fine because you just had a great month. But then, the next month arrives and your income drops to $2,100. Suddenly, all those new expenses are still there. Your income went down, but your lifestyle didn't. And that's where the stress begins. The problem isn't always that you don't earn enough money. Sometimes the real problem is that your expenses were built around an income you can't guarantee. That's why the first rule of budgeting with irregular income is simple. Never build your lifestyle around your highest paycheck. Instead, you need to create a baseline. Let's say your income over the last 6 months looked something like this. January, $2,200, February, $3,100, March, $1,700, May, $3,600, June, $2,400. Your average monthly income would be around $2,650. But I wouldn't automatically build your entire budget around that number. Why? Because an average isn't guaranteed. Your income could easily be lower next month. Instead, look at the lower end of your income history. In this example, the lowest month was $1,900. So maybe you decide that your baseline income is around $2,000. Now you have a number you can actually plan around. You're not budgeting around the $3,600 month. You're not depending on the $2,650 average. You're creating a financial life that can survive a weaker month. And when you earn more than that baseline, the extra money doesn't immediately become spending money. It becomes your financial shock absorber. This is where budgeting with an irregular paycheck becomes completely different from traditional budgeting. Instead of thinking, I made $3,500 this month, so I have $3,500 to spend, you start thinking about your money in different levels. First, you have survival expenses. These are the things you absolutely need, like rent, utilities, groceries, transportation, insurance, and minimum debt payments. Then you have stability. This is where you build an emergency fund and create a cash buffer. After that, you have your financial goals such as investing, paying off debt, saving for a house, education, or another major goal. Finally, you have fun money, which includes restaurants, entertainment, shopping, subscriptions, and other things you enjoy. The important part is that you move through these priorities in order. A huge paycheck doesn't automatically mean you should jump straight to spending more. It means you have more opportunity to strengthen your financial position. Here's a simple test I want you to try. Look at your last 6 months of income and find the lowest month. Then ask yourself one question. If I earned this amount every month, could I survive? If the answer is no, don't panic. That's actually useful information. Maybe your rent is too high. Maybe your fixed expenses are too large. Maybe you don't have enough cash reserves. Or maybe you simply need to reduce the amount of money you're committing every month. Because irregular income becomes much easier to manage when your fixed expenses are low. Think about it. If your required monthly expenses are $1,500 and you earn $3,500, you have plenty of room. But if your required expenses are $3,200 and your income can fall to $2,000, every low-income month becomes a financial emergency. That's why one of the most powerful strategies for people with irregular income isn't actually a budgeting app. It's reducing the amount of money you absolutely have to spend every month. Now, let's talk about the buffer that can completely change the way irregular income feels. Imagine your normal monthly expenses are $2,000, but your income looks like this. One month you make $3,000, the next month $2,400, then $1,700, then $3,500. Without a buffer, that $1,700 month feels like a disaster. But imagine you have $3,000 sitting in a separate savings account. Suddenly, your income doesn't have to perfectly match your expenses every single month. You can smooth things out. When you earn $3,500, you don't need to spend $3,500. You can keep some of that money in your buffer. Then, when a weaker month arrives, you have money available to cover the difference. This is one of the biggest mindset shifts for anyone with irregular income. You don't have to spend money according to when you receive it. You can create your own artificial paycheck. Let's say you determine that $2,000 is your comfortable monthly budget. Your income changes every month, but you decide that you're going to live on approximately $2,000. If you earn $2,500, you still operate around your $2,000 budget and keep the extra $500 in your buffer. If you earn $4,000, you still don't suddenly increase your lifestyle to $4,000. You keep the additional money available for future months, emergencies, investments, debt payments, or specific financial goals. Then one month, maybe you only earn $1,100. Instead of immediately panicking, you can use $500 from the buffer to help cover the difference. Your income is irregular, but your lifestyle doesn't have to be. And psychologically, that can make an enormous difference because you're no longer living through the emotional roller coaster of feeling rich one month and broke the next. Now imagine you have an amazing month. You earn $5,000 while your normal budget is around $2,000. What should you do with the extra $3,000? This is where many people make a huge mistake. They see the extra money as permission to upgrade their lifestyle. Suddenly, the expensive restaurant becomes normal. The new phone feels affordable. The bigger car payment doesn't seem like a big deal. But remember, a high-income month doesn't necessarily mean you've permanently increased your earning power. It might simply be a good month. Instead of immediately increasing your lifestyle, think of extra income as future freedom. You could use part of it to build your emergency fund, strengthen your income buffer, pay off high-interest debt, invest for the long term, save for a major goal, and still keep some money for yourself. Budgeting isn't supposed to make you miserable. You should enjoy some of your money. But the goal is to make sure your future self gets paid too. Here's another rule that can help you avoid lifestyle inflation. When you earn significantly more than your normal income, don't immediately increase your monthly expenses. Give yourself some time. You could even use a 30-day waiting period before making a major lifestyle change. Why? Because a big paycheck can create a false sense of wealth. You might see $5,000 in your account and think, I'm doing great. But what if $2,000 is needed for next month's expenses? What if another $1,000 needs to be reserved for taxes? What if you have a large annual bill coming up? What if you have debt payments or other obligations? Suddenly, that $5,000 isn't really $5,000 of disposable money. This is why you need to separate money you received from money you can actually spend. And if you're self-employed, freelancing, doing contract work, running a small business, or earning income that doesn't automatically have taxes taken out, there's another trap you need to watch out for. Taxes. Your bank account might show $4,000, but not necessarily all $4,000 belongs to you. Depending on your country, income, deductions, and circumstances, part of that money may eventually be needed for taxes. That's why you shouldn't look at every dollar that enters your account and immediately treat it as spending money. Create a separate tax bucket if necessary and understand your own tax obligations. Don't blindly copy a random percentage from someone online. Your situation may be completely different. The important idea is simply this: money that has a future obligation attached to it isn't truly available spending money. So what does a simple monthly routine actually look like? At the beginning of each month, I like to think about 4 things. First, how much cash do I actually have available? Not just how much did I earn, but how much money is genuinely available after considering upcoming obligations. Second, what bills are coming up? Rent, utilities, insurance, debt payments, annual expenses, subscriptions, and anything else that you know is coming. Third, what is my minimum spending requirement? This is the amount I need to keep my life running. And finally, after everything important is covered, how much can I safely spend? Notice that I don't start by asking, what do I feel like buying this month? I start by asking, what does my money need to accomplish this month? That small change in thinking can make budgeting much easier. If your income is irregular, I also recommend knowing 3 important numbers. The first is your survival number. That's the absolute minimum you need to keep your life running. The second is your normal lifestyle number. That's what you comfortably spend during an ordinary month. The third is your income target. That's the amount you ideally want to earn each month. For example, maybe your survival number is $1,600. Your normal lifestyle number is $2,200, and your income target is $3,000. Now you have a framework. If you earn $1,800, you know you're close to survival mode and should be careful. If you earn $2,300, you're having a fairly normal month. If you earn $4,000, that's a strong month, and the extra money can be used to strengthen your financial position. Without these numbers, every paycheck feels like a mystery. With them, you have a system. But what happens during a terrible month? The month nobody wants to think about. Maybe you expected to earn $2,500, but you only made $1,200. The first thing you should do is not panic. The second thing is to immediately look at your baseline budget. Cut optional spending. Pause unnecessary purchases. Use your buffer if you have one. And most importantly, don't pretend the bad month isn't happening. Ignoring a financial problem doesn't make it disappear. Usually, it makes it more expensive. If your income is falling, you want to know as early as possible. Because the earlier you adjust, the easier it is to protect yourself from bigger problems later. Here's another mindset I really like. Don't aim for a perfect financial month. Aim for a non-zero month. Maybe you can't save $500 this month. Save $50. Maybe you can't invest $300. Invest $25 if it makes sense for your situation. Maybe you can't make a huge debt payment. Make the required payment and avoid adding new debt. The goal is to keep the system alive. Financial progress isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's actually incredibly boring. Sometimes success is simply paying your bills, avoiding unnecessary debt, keeping your emergency fund untouched, and putting a small amount into savings. Those actions might not look impressive on social media, but over time, they can completely change your financial position. And here's something interesting about irregular income. It isn't automatically a disadvantage. In some cases, it can actually become an advantage. Think about someone who earns exactly $3,000 every month but spends $2,900. They only have $100 of flexibility. Now imagine someone who earns between $2,000 and $5,000 but learns to live on around $2,000. Their high-income months can become incredibly powerful. The key isn't simply how much you earn or whether your income is predictable. The key is what happens to the money when you earn more. If every high-income month immediately becomes a higher spending month, you're trapped in lifestyle inflation. But if high-income months build your emergency fund, savings, investments, and financial buffer, those months can accelerate your financial progress. And that brings us to one of the biggest traps of all, lifestyle inflation. You earn more, so you spend more. Then you earn even more, so you spend even more again. Eventually, your income goes up. But your financial stress stays exactly the same because your lifestyle grew alongside your income. The goal isn't to make every month look richer. The goal is to make your financial position stronger. A new car might make you feel richer for a while, but having several months of expenses saved can give you something much more valuable: security. A bigger house might look successful, but having manageable expenses and no high-interest debt can give you freedom. A luxury purchase might feel amazing for a weekend, but knowing that you could survive a bad income month without going into debt gives you a completely different kind of confidence. So let's bring the entire system together. If your paycheck is irregular, don't waste all your energy trying to predict exactly how much you'll earn. Instead, build a system that can handle uncertainty. Start by finding your baseline income. Calculate your survival expenses. Work on building a cash buffer. Whenever possible, create a consistent amount that you use for your normal monthly lifestyle. Treat high-income months differently from normal months. If you're responsible for your own taxes, set aside money for them. Give your extra income specific jobs instead of letting it disappear into random spending. And most importantly, don't let your lifestyle rise every time your income rises. Because here's the real goal. Your paycheck might be unpredictable. Your income might change. Some months might be amazing, and some months might be disappointing. But your financial life doesn't have to feel unpredictable. You can create stability even when your income isn't stable. You can build a buffer. You can control your fixed expenses. You can create your own paycheck. You can make your high-income months work for your future instead of simply making your current lifestyle more expensive. If this video helped you understand how to budget with an irregular paycheck, make sure you subscribe to Personal Finance for Beginners. On this channel, we break down budgeting, saving, investing, money habits, and personal finance into simple ideas that you can actually use in real life. And if your income changes every month, remember this: you're not necessarily bad at budgeting. You may simply need a budgeting system designed for the way you actually earn money. Your paycheck may be unpredictable, but your financial future doesn't have to be. I'll see you in the next video.